Hello, hello. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you, Vertex. Alrighty then, let's get back on track. That derailed me a little bit. The guys, yep, so yeah, as you can see on the screen, we've got the losers bracket final game, so losers final today. Yeah, maybe I pulled out my headset slightly at some point by accident. But yeah, like I said, TakeawayBongo against Unrestricted. After Unrestricted advanced on, defeating our good friend Vertex in the chat here. Predictions. Well, we've got the draft already here, so I'm going to go for the draft first. They have just started doing that. I think they've just finished the Civ draft now, actually. It was early joiner. But no, yeah, we had some good games yesterday. Unfortunately, Vertex couldn't advance on, but he put up a very good performance. Unrestricted, like I said, was the one to advance on to face against Bongo, and then obviously the winner of this match will go on to face Say My Name in the grand final. Better luck next time, Vertex. I mean, you played pretty well this tournament. You surpassed a few people's expectations, and maybe we gotta give you a bit more ranking in the seedings. But yeah, Ocean Ring and Inland both banned, and Bongo go to Rivers, and a lot of people seem to be picking up Rivers recently, and Continental from Unrestricted. Hi, Carver. Yeah, no, it was good games for sure. I feel like you didn't give yourself the best of Civ choices for Citadels, would be my main complaint. But other than that, it was a pretty good series. Desert Ridge from Bongo and Citadels from Res. So again, we have the chance of having both Citadels and Inside Out. Oasis from Bongo. Both Oasis and Sahara are in as well. Now, I feel like we see usually one of those two maps banned. Yeah, well, that's the good thing about the double. Oh, Muddy Waters from Unrestricted. I think that's the first time I've seen that map picked at all. So it'll be interesting to see if we have that map being played today. Yeah, they've done the Civ draft as well. So let us get straight into that. Yamato and Hittites ban. Interesting. And this leaves the conundrum now that both Shang and Latvia are up. And it's always unfortunate for the second picker in this scenario, because if they both pick the same Civ, then Unres will get the other of the two. I think it's probably quite likely both players will go for the Latvia. Is my gut on this. Oh, okay, no, Unres does go Shang. Latvia covered by Bongo though, so okay. So it's a split of the two top tier Civs. Like I said, I'm not as keen on Latvia anymore since the so like a few of the early game changes to the Civ, as well as like the faster villager speed now. Persian's being picked up straight away from Unres. I guess for that Oasis map with Yamato out of the pool. Yeah, I mean, Yamato is a very solid Civ on a lot of maps. And maybe, like I say, it might just be a play for Oasis. Just get Yamato out, and then Persians becomes a very strong pick. Carthaginians, Minoans, Egyptians from Unrestricted. And yeah, Hittites was banned from Bongo, which is obviously one of the two strongest closed map Civs. Usually it's Egyptians and Hittites that are together there. Yeah, he did leave the Minoans up. They're right. Yeah. Palmyrans. Oh, well, Phoenicians as well from Unriz. Palmyrans. What we actually got left, it feels like we've gone through the draft quite quickly here. These two bands have taken quite a few of the normally contested Civs out of contention, which is interesting. Assyrians being picked up by Bongo. So we got Romans left. Macedonians, yeah, I feel like is a sort of like an unrestricted classic. He normally picks that up as one of his last civs in a lot of drafts, I feel like Romans should probably be a go-to civ here. Yeah, like I said, I'm quite a big fan of the Palmyrans, so it'll be interesting to see when Bongo does pull those out. Yeah, like I said, this is going to be a best of 7 series, so we'll see how far we'll get in, how many games will get played, and it is the Romans. So what we've got left, we've got Babylonians, Chosen, Greeks, and Cimmerians. Chosen, I do feel like, yeah, is usually the most picked out of those remaining civs, but yeah, it's kind of just what's left over at this point in the draft. So which civ is not going to get drafted here? Is it the Greeks or the Cimmerians that's going to get left out? I think I prefer the Greeks to the Cimmerians because I just feel like the Cimmerians are a little bit just meh. They kind of don't really like pop up any point, where the Greeks were like, if you can get those hoplites spammed, that's quite hard to deal with for a lot of civs. But it is the Cimmerians, so fortunately it is the Greeks that are left out once again here. Yeah, like I say, yeah, Minoans are still by far the top tier civ on the water maps. These two maps you can try, well, Continental especially, you can try to force on the land against Minoans. Rivers is a little bit more complicated of a map with just the crossings and stuff. But yeah, we'll see what civs get chosen for what maps where. Looks like they do already have the lobby up. Like I was just a little bit behind them doing the draft, setting the stream up. Okay, looks like they put quite a bit of a spectator delay. So, yeah, they put a 4-minute spectator delay, so it's going to take us a little while to get into the game. No sniping here. What's your feeling of the least picks? Well, I mean, actually, I have the stats. I don't know if you were here the other day, Waffle. I have from the best of 5 drafts, I have the least picked civs. I guess, because we're going to have a little bit of spectator delay here, I can quickly go into that. I'm a man of the numbers. So yeah, I've got all of the drafts for the best of 5s here. So all the map bans, all the map picks, all the civ bans, all the civ picks. So yeah, this is just from the best of 5 data. So for the most banned civ was the Latviat, and then the Shang. Probably not too much of a surprise there. And a lot of civs not getting any bans, which is not too unusual. We had this sort of a little bit of an oddity of the Macedonians being banned 3 times, which I believe that was Black Waltz that kept banning the Macedonians in all his series. Yeah, like the win rate stats, I feel like those don't really mean anything, just because there weren't enough games played, and I think a lot of the series that have been played, the biggest factors being the player, not the civ, just because we have a little bit, unfortunately, had quite a lot of 3-0 series in the best of 5 section. But yeah, the most picked civs, Shang, Carthaginians. Obviously, the Latviat is a little bit lower just because it's been banned so many times. So the least picked civs were the Babylonians, Greeks, and Cimmerians, which, yeah, I feel like Macedonians probably should be a little, so not too far, probably should have been a little bit lower, in my opinion. But there's a few players that I think it was like DE players that I think still rate the Macedonians a little bit higher than some of the lower tier civs. And like I've spoken about it before, I feel like the line of sight bonus is a lot more important in DE, where the map spawns are a lot more random. You don't see your berries right from the start. So yeah, that bonus is a lot more powerful in that version of the game, whereas in Return of Rome, where you can see your berries from the start straight away. Yeah, well, so the Macedonians were played 4 times and won 2 games and lost 2 games, so in the best of 5 section. I don't know if was that yesterday one with the mace? Oh yeah, it was, because he played against... Unres was on the Shang, right? Yeah. I don't see the lobby. What's happened here? Oh, okay, they did a restart. Because there's the 4-minute spectator delay, I didn't even see the lobby go up. Well, like I said, I feel like that game, because Vertex's start to that game was actually not the best. I'm sure he'd be the first to admit that. Because he sort of missed those starting elephants and then went for a little bit of an aggressive play with the easy. Easy game, man. But yeah, Vertex lost 2 villagers right at the start of the game. And I was saying in the cast I would have liked Unrestricted to just play conservatively, build a barracks at home and just build up a macro lead with the Shang bonus. Yeah, okay, so you're trying to like lame the elephant? Fair. Yeah, he did, because I don't know how much of the games you watch back, but Unrestricted did just build a pit near where you lamed the gazelle on the wood line there, so it wasn't the most efficient pit for the wood, but it meant like he still got most of the gazelle. But yeah, like you lost the 2 villagers, which meant Unres had the Vil lead, and then obviously he was just Shang, but then he went 3 barracks forwards, and then you defended much better and attacked much better than he did, so you just won out a lot in the trades. Right, so they have launched the game, but we are going to be on a spectator delay, I think. Let me just... But yeah, we had a restart from Bongo. Okay, so here we go. We can sit in the spectator delay. Wait. So Highlands, we're going to have the Babylonians against the Shang. So a little bit of a Civ mismatchup. So Bongo doing like what a lot of players have done on Highlands in the past, is they tend to like throw out a weaker Civ on the Highland, and then it's kind of like if your opponent does pick a big strong Civ, then you don't mind as much as if you do lose the map. I mean, I don't have a side here. I just want to see some good games between these 2 players. I feel like Bongo has had the slight better of Unrestricted in recent, well, I say recent tournaments, in like the last few matchups they've had together. We did have Bongo as our number 2 seed player. I think Unrestricted we had as number 4. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Well, I mean, will we see a sort of repeat of yesterday? Like, obviously, Vertex was Macedonians against Unrestricted Shang, and now it's the Babylonians for Bongo against Unrestricted Shang. So it's interesting that Unrestricted does feel like they'll prefer to just lead with a strong Civ straight away. I mean, it can be a good like momentum boost to just lead if you can like lead with a strong Civ and then just get a win right off the bat. That could be quite a positive reinforcement. But then on the flip side, if you lose this matchup, then you're feeling pretty bad at that point. So swings and roundabouts, as they say. So I'll mute the music now, as we have loaded into game 1 of this best of 5 losers final, as my Capture Age has decided to crash. Actually, no, maybe I didn't actually launch Capture Age. Maybe that's my bad. Maybe that's not Capture Age's fault this time. So in we go, like I said. Best of 7 series. In we come. We just have to restart right away. So because in a best of 7, both players are allowed 2 restarts. What happened? Unres called a restart there. He didn't lose the villager. But yeah, Bongo got the central elephants. I'm a little bit surprised Unrestricted grabbed that elephant straight away. Was it? Is he literally called a restart just because he didn't get the central elephants? Does it literally come down to that? Only one elephant. But no, these are the two central elephants. Bongo got the two central elephants. But do you call a restart over that? I mean, you have, like I said, you have two restarts. Why not? Well, I guess what? Yeah. Alright, fair enough, fair enough. I feel like I'd be saving my restarts for, like, if my veal gets killed by an elephant by accident or something like that. But maybe these players are like a lot better than me and wouldn't have a villager die. I mean, I've seen lots of people have elephants kill their villagers this tournament, so I know it's not just me. It happens too. The thing, but yeah, like that for me, that because like if he didn't get the central elephants and then just didn't have any elephants, I could understand that a bit more. But he found one, so he's like probably only down an elephant, right? And he's the Shang. And now he's only got one restart left. I don't know. Well, the other thing is, like, I didn't see the first game. So I don't know what Bongo called restart on his as well. And maybe Unrestricted is like, well, he's used one of his restarts, so I've kind of got like a restart in pocket. But again, I feel like him finding at least one elephant, I don't know. I feel it's a little bit wasteful of a restart for me, but like I said, he does still have one in the bank. As we have, what's the approach for Babby versus Shang? That's a very good question, Wattle. I think if you can survive as the Babylonians and get to the Bronze Age, then obviously the Babylonians just beat the Shang in Chariot Archer battles. So then it's like on the Shang to then come up with a different unit option. Babylonians do get access to camel as well, so Shang can't just play cavalry. So maybe like I'm not really sure. It's going to be interesting, but like I said, I think because obviously Shang just have a very big advantage in the early game. That Bongo should kind of be on the back foot for a little bit of the early game, in theory. Obviously, with how crazy some early tool ages can be, well, like again, when we saw the Unrestricted game against Vertex yesterday, we all know how that chaotic that game got. And again, I feel like this is one of the things where players should sometimes play to their Civ more. Because I know, so Unrestricted is... Are we going to get another restart if Bongo doesn't get the central elephant? He does spot... So Bongo does spot one of the outer elephants, and is he just going to take that? I think he is just going to take that. He spotted both of his other berries as well, which is quite nice, although they're both obviously in a pretty poor spot with them both being very far forward. But yeah, Unrestricted does get the central elephants this time. But yeah, like I was saying, I feel like a lot of the players just go forward because they just always go forward. But like, I feel like as the Shang, you've got no need to go all in on the more exposed maps. Actually, this map here, that said, is actually no. I was going to say fairly wallable on the front, but it's actually quite exposed on the left side here. So scratch that. Yeah, it's kind of the same for Bongo. Although Bongo can wall here, here, and then if he explores here, that's pretty wallable base there, and he'll have some nice resources tucked away in the back. But it's unlikely that he explores all the way down the south side there. Okay, so we do get we are into the game for real this time. Game 1 of his best of 7 series. And as Wattle was asking, for the matchup here, like I said, just I feel like the cheaper villager bonus for Shang just should put them ahead against basically most saves other than maybe the Lac Viat. Because the Lac Viat also just get the faster military production in the Tool Age as well as the berry bonus. And I guess arguably the Persians as well can keep up with the Shang at the start of the game. It's just obviously the Persian bonus is a lot more short-lived. It's once the hunt runs out, you lose your bonus, whereas the Shang bonus is just, as long as you're still making villagers, you're still getting advantage. But Unrestricted already with a villager forward. This is pretty early, maybe just to try and scout out his opponent. And we do have a little bit of an unusual spawn here in terms of the players being sort of both on the same side of the map. And it's always a little bit tricky in these spawns, as you don't expect your opponent to spawn here. Like from Unrestricted's point of view, sorry, I didn't mean to double tap that. You'd expect your opponent to be along this side of the map somewhere, which kind of feels like Unrestricted's going in that direction, but now he's just kind of chilling in the wood line there. But yeah, this is obviously one of the biggest challenges of Age of Empires 1 is without having any starting scout unit. Sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to find your opponent's location. Storage pit just going up next to the gazelle there. Not too far away from the stone as well. You could get away with just holding stone for slingers, and if that becomes relevant in the Tool Age. Crocodile getting involved. Gets one hit in on the villager there. But yeah, 21 vills for Unrestricted. 9 seconds idle TC. So he's added extra vill in there. Is he adding extra 2? Interesting. Slightly unusual. So maybe he is... yeah, that's very... Well, again, unusual, really. 22 vills, and then clicking up for Unrestricted. Still has his villager poking around. Bongo has actually decided not to go forward. He's just gone up more standard 20 vills. 27 seconds idle TC time. Not too bad for the Babylonians who don't have any early game bonuses, so that forward vill does get spotted now. But yeah, Unrestricted does at least know where his opponent is, so he has that advantage for the time being. But it looks like, after my talk of aggressive forward play, that both players are actually going to play from home this time. And like I said, obviously the Shang should have a theoretical advantage for most of the early game. But like I said, if the Babylonians can get to the Bronze Age and be still in a decent position, just because they have that military bonus of the Pierce Armor, their chariots, that does force the Shang player to think a little bit more about that unit composition. So obviously the Shang get the attack speed bonus on their cavalry, but again, like I said earlier, the Babylonians get camels, so you still don't really want to play cavalry in the long term against a civ that has access to the camel. A couple of actually there's a market in an archery range. And Bongo, yeah, is doing the long walls. Like I said, it's unfortunately not done the exploration. But like, why would you really send a villager all the way down here, I guess, in his defense? Still chasing this village down, and Unrestricted will spot the market in the archery range. And the second villager being pulled in. So this villager is probably going to die. But it's getting a lot of value out in terms of exploration there. Another villager has come forward, actually. And archery range. There's just another pit on the stone there. And yeah, that villager does finally go down. So first blood to Bongo. And yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit like surprised because I was just expecting some more fireworks here in this game. Oh, actually, there was a one-tile gap that Bongo noticed and I didn't. So that's good that you realised that there. And actually, Bongo does sort of spot this bottom side now, so maybe in the future he does extend the walls. For the meantime, 4 bowmen and slingers production has started. So I think this is mostly just a scouting bowman. Both players just kind of feeling each other out for the time being. And yeah, we're sort of getting to the point where the natural resources are starting to run out and players will have to swap onto farms. Like I said, Bongo did find his 2 sets of other berries, but they're kind of in a position where you'd have to be very brave to want to go out and build a granary there. Whereas Unrestricted actually has some tucked to the back there. That's a very nice position, and he's going to actually wall all the way to the side of the map as well. And yeah, his other ones are tucked in at the back there. He hasn't spotted those, so unlikely that those will get gathered from. But this will be another little nice sort of delaying that time before you have to commit all those that wood to building farms. Not really sure what's going on with the wall section here. I would have thought we'd just go to the edge of the map. That's the kind of thing that would just like really annoy me, and I'd end up just deleting it and building a wall section. Actually, I mean, technically it is actually not good to do this, because it means you can get more units wrapped around the corner of the wall, so that actually does create a small weakness. Bowmen are going to find this loose villager here. It looks like, yeah, Unrestricted having a little bit more exploration of the map. So then another villager is going to get picked off here. So this does put Unrestricted behind a couple of villagers now. In fact, Unrestricted's had quite a lot of idle TC time since he hit the tool edge, I've just noticed. So he's actually about sort of 3.5-ish villagers behind. Bongo is going for that granary there. So he is... Ooh, we may regret this instantly. A couple of bowmen causing a distraction. Unrestricted not taking the bait though. And yeah, that granary is going to get instantly made useless. So unfortunate for Bongo, but like I said, not really that unexpected. Stone mining in nice and early for Bongo. He may lose a slinger here. Woodworking also already in for Unrestricted. I don't know if I saw woodworking in. Okay, woodworking is already in for Bongo, because yeah, he got that market up straight away, didn't he? So we kind of just have a few units here, there, and everywhere. So there's no sort of solid fight broken out just yet. It's kind of just been little skirmishes back and forth, a few units being traded off. And in the meantime, actually, that idle TCE now time is basically joined together as Bongo, maybe a few too many villagers on wood. Yeah, he's trying to set up the farms now. It's a little bit short on food, which is actually going to give Unrestricted the chance to sort of catch up on villager numbers a little bit. And again, every time one of these villages is made, Unrestricted is just saving that 10 food, which, I mean, obviously Bongo has the advantage of the cheaper market techs, although I don't know what the savings for those techs are off the top of my head. But yeah, another few units just kind of being lost for free for Bongo. But again, yeah, you can see it's pretty even on the KD. So a little more of an actual fight opening up here. Unrestricted does have more slingers, so probably should be able to take advantage of this situation. It's interesting that he's dancing back and forward with the bowman and then just letting the slingers fire. Normally you use the slingers as more of a front line there, but using the bowman a little bit more with the micro, there's Unrestricted that. And yeah, pretty positive fight for Unrestricted, just those slinger numbers definitely helping out in the fight there. As both players on the double ranged composition. Again, Bongo, he had about 700 wood there. I guess he's just, yeah, placed down a whole bunch more farms. And yeah, Bongo needs to be careful he doesn't just lose units for free when they're created. So in DE, they do just pop out, but in Return of Rome, you can garrison them inside the barracks, or maybe another better thing to do would be to set the gather point just on the inside of base. Second, or another, maybe it is, yeah, I think it's the second barracks going to be placed behind the first, just to reblock up the hole, as well as allow villager production to continue. Yeah, Unrestricted has now clicked the Bronze Age. And obviously, again, just the savings for the food on those villagers, just allowing him those extra resources to sneak up there. Bongo, like I said, maybe being a little bit behind setting up his farms, because he's just been having quite a large number of amount of wood in the stockpile. So maybe a little bit slow to get that transition going. He does have 20 farmers now, but it's going to be a little while before he reaches the 800 food he needs. A bunch of villagers chopping wood over here. It's interesting to see if this gets spotted out at any point. That house actually never got completed, funnily enough. Watchtower being placed forward by Unrestricted. Barracks does go down. And 90 military units to the 15. But yeah, nearly Bronze Age in, so Unrestricted definitely in the driving seat here. And again, Bongo just kind of accumulating just probably too much wood here. Maybe just placing a granary and a bunch of farms around here would be worthwhile. And Bongo now has nearly has the food. There we go. Click. But yeah, 1,200 wood in the bank. So a little bit mismanagement of resources by Bongo in this early game, I have to say. And Unrestricted, he's got plenty of gold in the bank, and he is going to go with the cavalry. And obviously, if his opponent isn't in the Bronze Age, then he can't make camels, so cavalry is a very good option then. But his opponent is mostly walled, so there are a few weaker spots, maybe like trying to burst through the market on the south side could be an option here. And Bongo going for gold mining and onto gold straight away, so maybe anticipating the cavalry from his opponent to get some gold ready to allow him to go into those camels. Siege Workshop forward straight away, so pretty solid forward push from Unrestricted, following this up straight away. Both players trying to dance back and forth. The villagers kind of, yeah, trying to get the last block of the wall built. I think that village is going to get taken down. Neither work is in. Village does get taken down. Yeah, sentry towers as well to hold the position. And now, yeah, we see the camels, cavalry, stone throwers nearly ready as well. Bronze Age is in now for Bongo. But yeah, stable's only just going down now. Oh no, sorry, he does have a stable here. So we adding a few more in here. And I think it will just be all onto the camels. And now Unrestricted switching onto the chariot archers. There's actually a little bit of a counter push on the south side here, but shouldn't get too much done. And then it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out, because like I said, if Bongo can get himself, yeah, wheel is nearly in, so he can get himself set up and secure. He can start making chariot archer of his own, and then the trade should start favouring Bongo. So it's basically a matter of how much damage Unrestricted can do with this advantage he's given himself, getting to the Bronze Age a little bit quicker. 4 camel riders already out in the field, and you can see Unrestricted's making camel of his own. And obviously the camels are both equal for both players, but the extra chariot archers in the back. I mean, if Unrestricted does just play camels, it kind of forces both players to maybe commit to camel, and then he could just arguably have the stronger eco from his civ. Unrestricted has had it in a second TC, so he is going to be trying to boom up behind this as well. First couple of camels come through, but plenty of units for Bongo. He's got the camels clustered together with his slower units, which is, as we all know, is one of my pet peeves of players from when they play in the game. Unrestricted, does clatter his own units there. I was going to say send his Tool Age army to like scope out, but unfortunately kind of a little bit friendly fire there. Ability coming in nice and early from Bongo, that's nice to see. Some players do sort of take a while to get that tech in sometimes. It's not a huge amount of HP, but it can make a difference in these more equal fights. But yeah, Unrestricted still on the offensive. There is this little handful of units here, still being a little bit tricky, but ooh, the walls are just deleted, so here comes the engage. Camels are coming through. This is going to be a fairly close fight. Stone Thrower does get taken down. I didn't check the storage pit upgrades before this. It looks like Unrestricted is taking the fight, though. The assistance of the towers at the back, and I guess just the sheer power of the cavalry. It's +2/+2, and GG is just called on the spot. Damn. Oh, there we go. That was pretty decisive in the end, I've got to say. Just going to go back and check, because I wasn't sure what upgrades Bongo had. So it was just +2/+2 in for both players. And yeah, Unrestricted, even though he he went behind like that handful of villagers, did Unrestricted, but then Bongo just had all that idle TC time. And like I said, I think he was just a bit slow getting his farms up. Like, yeah, even at the end of the game here, he has over 1,000 wood. And then, yeah, it's just slight mismanagement of the economy from Bongo, excuse me, just led to Unrestricted just getting quite a big advantage, getting to that Bronze Age much quicker. I guess we can see that fight. Oh, I've gone a little bit too far there. See the fight again, but yeah, Bongo just deleted the wall, so this fight was on his terms. Yeah, Stone Thrower did manage to get in a good hit there, and like I said, the assistance of the towers, yeah, just too many units from Unrestricted. I guess his camels probably took, Bongo's camels probably took quite a few shots when they tried to dive through as well to get to that Stone Thrower. So they did get the Stone Thrower down, but I think they were probably taking damage the entire time. And yeah, Bongo just calling the GG just because he knows, well, he's exposed his base, and yeah, just went for the Hail Mary play. Didn't work out for him there. Fire with us. Dear. True dude. So, yep, pretty convincing game from Unrestricted. Like I say, he did go a little bit behind on villagers at one point, because I guess he was maybe committing more resources to the military. Like I said, there was a few little scrappy skirmishes between both players where they were kind of just trying to figure each other out. And then Unrestricted got that one pretty nice engage, and then was on the offensive from that point on. But Babylonians was Bongo's very last pick, and that was against Unrestricted Shang. What have you missed? You've missed game one, Jesse. Hello there. And yeah, we had the Shang playing up against the Babylonians on Highlands. Unrestricted got a little bit behind in the early game, lost a couple of villagers, but Bongo, like I said, a little bit mismanagement of the economy, the macro game, maybe a little bit rusty. That's one of the things, a bit like Vertex was saying earlier, when some of the players have had like more of a run through the lower bracket, and that's actually given like more practice in a way. Whereas Bongo, his tournament so far has been, I think he's played like 3 series, and it's been quite a while since his last matchup, because he played Say My Name last. So yeah, Bongo's tournament run so far has been his game against Black Waltz, which he won 3-0, his game against Mini Yeti, which he won 3-1, and then he lost 4-2 to Say My Name. And that semi-final winners final game against Say My Name was quite a little while ago, whereas Unrestricted obviously had that pretty close series between him and Vertex yesterday. So maybe a little bit of rust there, but again, it was the Babylonians as his civ there. So he still has his first pick of the Lakviat remaining. Like I said, slightly unusual bans for this series, but we'll see how that plans out in the long run. And what am I trying to do here? I'm trying to check the lobby. Okay, so next game is up. We are at the Citadels. We do have the 4-minute delay, so I suspect I will be in the spectator queue as I join in. And okay, we actually just caught up just at the end there, so we are about to get in. So Egyptians from Unrestricted is the choice, and Palmyrans from Bongo, which I think is probably, because yeah, Hittites were banned, And Bongo didn't really have a never closed map civ, so yeah, with Palmyrans makes sense here. But yeah, Unrestricted has just been a big fan. I've got the capture age bug again, so let me just quickly restart capture age. Ooh, did it go away? No, it did not. It's funny how I've just realised I've got the thing on there as well. Let's turn that off. It's funny because like the capture age had an update like ages ago saying they fixed the burning bug, and it just isn't fixed. It just isn't fixed at all. So yep, into game 2, Citadels. Egyptians has been Unrestricted's favourite pick on this map for quite a while, or one of his favourite picks. And well, to be fair, it's been a top pick for a lot of players, has the Egyptians, just because their Bronze Age is just one of the strongest in the game. And obviously, a little bit more likely to get to the Bronze Age on this map. It'll be interesting to see if Bongo does go for try, because I've seen sometimes before Palmyrans tried to go for some early game shenanigans. I'm not a huge fan of doing that as the Palmyrans, but some players do like it. Or if Bongo will just rely on the eco of the Palmyrans. I think the Egyptians should in theory have the advantage from like the in the early to mid Bronze Age, but then if Unrestricted doesn't get too much damage in, then the Palmyran economy I think should be able to shine through. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And just having a look, nothing unusual about the map spawns. Like I said, occasionally in the very rare spawn, your berries sometimes can spawn like back in a pocket here. Though again, on the Rise of the Ancients version of this map, I don't think I'm not sure if I have ever seen that on the Rise of the Ancients version. Yeah, like I said, I think Unrestricted's had a lot like more warming of the hands. He's had a lot more practice games. But that is true. Bongo is a Citadel's connoisseur, and again, I'm glad to see the Palmyrans have had a little bit more of prioritization by a lot of players recently. So it'll be interesting to see how he does wield the Civ. And just grabbing the elephants. And yeah, berries fairly near the wall for Bongo, but it's quite, yeah, you could build like a granary maybe around here, this sort of location. Yeah, Unrestricted berries are forward. And obviously both players have the outer berries, which players will usually try to claim sort of partway through the tool age. Get those berries collected before the madness begins, and then collect the more safer berries later on when things start kicking off in the Bronze Age. Again, it'd be interesting to see if either the players do try for any tool age shenanigans, or if we just have a gentleman's handshake of chill in the early game and I'll meet you in the Bronze Age situation. Bongo's done a pretty nice job of only 14 seconds idle TC time as the Palmyrans. Obviously, those villagers do work 25% more efficiently, but they're also 50% more expensive, so sometimes that number can creep up quite a lot. And yeah, it's, again, a little, actually, it looks like, I was going to say it's creeping up, but it looks like, I think Bongo just settling for the 20 vills. So this is effectively 25 villagers Bongo has, and he's clicking up now. Unrestricted just has the one more villager in queue. It's a little bit shy for the 500 food at the moment. It'll be interesting to see if he adds in an extra vill, if he just force drops off. Okay, it looks like he did get the 500 there, and yeah, 0 seconds idle TC time for Unrestricted. And he is up, quote unquote, 3 vills, but effectively he is behind because of the Palmyrans. But then obviously the Palmyrans have had to invest more food in those villagers. So in theory, Bongo should be in a slight hole, but with the gather rate bonus, he should be able to make up for that. We do actually see, wow, 1 tile miss on the barracks forward. So both players are, I don't know if this is one of those, Unrestricted sometimes does the thing where he builds a barracks on his opponent's face And it's not actually a push, it's just to say like, hey, here I am, what are you going to do? But we do see double barracks forward from Bongo, so this actually is more of a committed play. Unrestricted having a whack on the wall. I think this is a mind games play from Unrestricted though. But Bongo already on the offensive. So interesting to see how Unrestricted does react to this. Unrestricted is a little short on wood for buildings. If you just want to go straight up to the Bronze Age. But yeah, Bongo looks like he is committing to the Tool Age. So the deal's off. Fight now. We're not waiting for the Bronze Age. Watchtower is coming in from Unrestricted. Watchtowers are only of limited... I mean, obviously they're going to be very good at defending up against the axes. Not so strong against the slingers. He's actually built it quite a few tiles back, where it's going to be difficult for the slingers to actually get to range that tower, though. Villager attempting to get some hits in on the first slingers there. Didn't have the needle work in, though, so that wasn't really going to do much damage. And Unrestricted is probably going to have to get woodworking in fairly quickly for this tower to be of any real use. Bongo going round the flank. That's just the house, yeah. I was just got a little bit concerned about what that blue dot was there for a second. Yeah, Bongo trying to chew away at this corner wall here. Couple of bows, but quite a few slingers already for Bongo. No stone mining in just yet. It's only 3 slingers at the moment. A little bit short of food. And Unrestricted not really doing too much to hold the position. Obviously he's creating military units behind this, but there was no attempt to sort of wall up. I think he's kind of just trying to, I guess, gather as many berries as he can before he evacuates these villages, which he's going to have to do now. As the wall is broken through. Handful of units in defense here, but double the military for Unrestricted. For some reason he doesn't move. Yeah, a couple of that was a little bit sloppy by Unrestricted there to not move those units earlier. And Unrestricted, I mean, it's going to lose most of the military units here. So this is just going to be GG on the spot. I don't really know. Like I said, he didn't try to wall, didn't move the villagers away, doesn't have the military count. I think this is probably going to be a pretty fast Citadel's game. Elephant runs out over there as well, so Unrestricted is going to be limited for food supply. Still has some in the bank. He does actually have 8 military units out in the field, as Bongo is mostly focusing villagers. So actually, game probably will continue, as Unrestricted actually does have the military advantage. Obviously, eco advantage is going to be massively in favour of Bongo at this point. 32 to 26 plus the Palmyran bonus on top of that. So that was an interesting choice of trade from Bongo there. Doesn't fight the military units, just went all in to fight, kill the villagers, and obviously got a good amount of damage done. I think arguably though, if he'd focused the military units, then he could have just kept the numbers at advantage, and then just, yeah, kept bringing reinforcements behind that, and then just killed Unrestricted on the spot. I mean, we're still in a good... Ooh, we snuck a villager in the back. Surely... Oh, he still doesn't see the villager. That's very sneaky. So Unrestricted does think he's walled up again now. Obviously, it's going to have to be quite a lot of bowmen built as the second archery range, so it is going to be a lot more bowmen built. But yeah, Bongo still... Well, it's a couple of minutes idle TC time, but still producing villagers now. And yeah, Unrestricted with all his military units out on the front now. But yeah, how many bows have we got? Sequestered away at the back. 3 in that. And Unrestricted is none the wiser. A bit of a fight takes place up front. These things still don't have stone mining in, and Unrestricted does have woodworking in now, so it is actually pretty easy to kite and fight against the slingers in that situation. Unrestricted feeling brave enough to go out on the berries. And 4-5 bows at the back now. And again, we'll have a little bit of an engage, but this almost feels like not the real story of the situation, because it doesn't feel like it matters if Unrestricted wins this fight. If this box of tricks comes out, we'll see how much damage Bongo can do in the rear of Unrestricted's base. And yeah, it's still pretty big eco lead as well, so it feels just like Bongo has all the cards in his hand, and Unrestricted again still none the wiser to the danger that awaits. And actually, ooh, that house is giving it away. Unrestricted should have seen this. Obviously, he's focusing on the fight at the front. We see the village bowman jump out now, though. The villager's going to get taken down. Again, it feels like Unrestricted still hasn't noticed. And this is going to be absolute disaster situation. Still, Bongo just using this as a distraction. Another 7 villagers go down. But yeah, Unrestricted should have seen these extra houses. That should have been a bit of a tip-off. And Unrestricted still does have the military numbers, but this is going to be a whole bunch more villager kills. There are a couple of slingers here, actually. Maybe able to hold the position, allow the villagers to run away. But like in the meantime, 46 villagers, and yeah, a whole bunch more farmers bite the dust. And it feels like Bongo can't really go wrong at this point. He may lose quite a few of his units on the inside here, yeah. It's just another archery range. I mean, I'm interested, surprised that one of these buildings wasn't a barracks, so he could add in slingers inside the walls. But Unrestricted now obviously sees what has happened in the back of his base. And again, at Bongo, a little bit not 100% on the of the macro, but again, I feel like at this point it kind of doesn't really matter. Unrestricted, possibly, yeah, the armies unite there. I don't think Unrestricted really. I mean, the numbers are fairly even, so he may be able to take a fight here, but I don't think he shouldn't be able to keep up on military production in the long run. Although Unrestricted trying to put down just a bunch of extra buildings. I mean, these archery rangers are still here building extra bows. The villagers evacuate into the tower. Another granary goes down to spend all that food, wood, I should say. But yeah, I feel like Bongo probably should have been able to click bronze already at this point. But again, he's kind of just a little bit over-indexed onto the wood. And another wall section did go up, but yeah, a couple of villagers paying the price for it. And yeah, I feel, yeah, Bronze Age is coming in now, but it feels like it's going to have to be some sort of miracle play from Unrestricted at this point. 49 villagers of the Palmyran variety to 28. And I'm a little bit disappointed in a way, because I would have liked to have seen how these civs played up against each other in the Bronze Age. But still very solid gameplay from Bongo. I think Unrestricted, like I said, he went for, I think, just like the mine gameplay. But he just missed that one barracks by the single tile. Yeah, Unrestricted just calls it. I've just realised I'm not added in the score. So it is 1-1 now. And yeah, I think just Unrestricted caught a little bit by surprise there. Built the tower, which obviously you do have just the stone in bank to build up with the game, but obviously that means that you need to collect more stone to be able to make the slingers. Like I said, Unrestricted didn't really react that much to this push. Obviously, like, he was trying to build units behind this, but like I said, he didn't build any walls. When the wall went down, Didn't evacuate the villagers. And like I said, I was a little bit, maybe not surprised, but it was interesting to see that Bongo just ignored Unres's army for the most part. It looks like he went for a bit of an engage here, but then decided to just go in. He found the wood line, just went in for the units there. So in the end, he lost most of this initial army, but then that villager that I hadn't actually spotted at the time snuck through. So again, he lost most of the army, but he did a lot of damage in the process. And then I think Unrestricted had a little bit of a false sense of security at this point. He had the military lead and was able to sort of push back again and re-wall. But yeah, this villager's going unspotted, so very nice little sneak there from Bongo. And there was the moment later on, like, I guess he had already built quite a few bowmen at this point, so arguably even if Unrestricted did notice when the next house went down, yeah, Unrestricted could have seen that at that point. But to be fair, you could argue it's kind of already was too late at that point. Yeah, Bongo just did another very good job of just running distraction on the outside. But yeah, obviously, like I was saying, the real threat was here. So yeah, Unrestricted didn't actually have as much time to react as maybe I made out during the game. And yeah. But then, like I said, even despite this, Bongo already had a pretty huge villager advantage at that point. And again, he just felt like there wasn't really much Unrestricted could have done in that situation after the initial raid went through. So 1-1, series ties up again. And we'll get ourselves into the next game, sharpish. So the Egyptians not working out for Unrestricted, and Palmyrans again proving their worth. Those bonuses just pretty scary. Let me check. So it looks like Oasis is going to be the next map. They haven't launched just yet. So actually interesting that the players have chosen each other's map 6. Obviously Unrestricted won the first map, so Bongo had the choice and went to Citadel. Now Unrestricted is choosing Oasis here. Unrestricted did ban the Yamato and gave himself the choice of the Persians. So I imagine it will be the Persians as the choice for Bongo, as for Unrestricted, sorry. Possibly Bongo could pull out the Latviat here to try and match the power of the Persians. I imagine, I'm just trying to think where the civs are going to go. Continental is obviously going to be Minoans, I'd imagine. I mean, you could play Minoans on rivers, maybe Carth on Continental. Maybe, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I'd be very surprised if Unrestricted didn't pick the Persians for Oasis here. And I mean, I think I have seen the Chosen be played on Oasis in another series in this tournament. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, potential 3-day, yeah, back-to-back games of rivers. Like I said, it wasn't a very contested map for most of the tournament. But in these last few series that we've seen, has risen up the priority for a lot of players. I don't know if some players saw it being played in that one match and they're like, I want to play that map. I want to give it that map's better than I remember it. I don't know exactly. But yeah, the other one interesting one I said is Muddy Waters was picked by Unrestricted. And I think this may have been banned once. It definitely hasn't been played yet. I can't remember if it's been picked. I think there was one matchup where somebody banned this this map. But yeah, so yeah, with Inland and Ocean Ring being banned, we had like to go some slightly more untreaded waters. Other than Continental, obviously, is probably, I think it's actually the most played map, if I remember correctly from my stats, other than Highland, obviously. And looks like the players have launched the game now, so let us get in. Again, I think we've got a little bit of a spectator delay, so it might be a little bit behind. Ooh, okay. Interesting. Very interesting. So, the Persians have been saved for another day, and the choice is the Romans from Unrestricted. And Assyrians is the choice from Bongo. So, two lesser seen who won the last game. It was Bongo won the last game. It's 1-1 now. But yeah, interesting choice by Unrestricted. There is Desert Ridge in the map pool, and obviously there's a lot of elephants on that map, so it can be a pretty good map for the Persians to play on if you can get a hold of a whole bunch of those central elephants. But I would have thought with just how strong Persians are on Oasis that Unrestricted wanted to use that civ here. And yeah, like I said, Roman's being pulled out. Obviously the Roman's still a decent early game, but it just doesn't lend itself quite as nicely to the Oasis maps as the civs like Shang, Yamato and Persians for this map. But yeah, Syrians from Bongo, as we all know, is not my most favourite civ. But if Bongo can get himself to the Bronze Age, then those Chariot Archers are going to be very difficult for Unrestricted to deal with. I don't think the Romans really have any answer to Masked Chariot Archer. So it's going to be difficult for them. Obviously, Romans should, in theory, have a bit of an advantage in the earlier phases of the game just because of that building discount. Yeah, we're just going to have to see how this does play out. Be very... Well, yeah, this map, obviously, usually pretty wide open as well, can cause some chaotic games. And like I said, it's usually those early game civs that are good with the scout rushes that are good on this map, where neither of these civs are really scout civs, I wouldn't say. I mean, I do remember when on a lot of Sahara games, I feel like Say My Name used to pick Assyrians quite a lot on that map, and then just go for his forward stable of the Assyrians, where you don't have particularly any bonuses other than obviously your faster moving villagers, but obviously Say My Name is just a very strong player, so a lot of civs look good in his hands. But yeah, here we go into game 3 as I'll switch to the capture age view. And so we begin. And Bongo spawning up on the north side here as the Assyrians, as I said. And Romans, again, the choice for Unrestricted. And yeah, again, a little bit surprised he didn't pick the Persians. I'm interested to see that he's pushing the Gazelle here. I would have... Maybe that's just my lazy Return of Rome brain. Was like, this would be a good spot for a storage pit. Berries quite close, and it'd be quite nice if Unrestricted finds find the elephant and the berries. That'd be good for him. He's just marginally off the seeing the elephant there. Actually, it's a few more tiles than I thought it would be. And yeah, quite a wide open map as per usual. It's not impossible to wall this map, but it usually just takes a little bit too long before like the forward plays come through. But yeah, you kind of usually have to wall a bit like out from your base, which takes quite a while to do that. Both players, a bit similar to the Highland game, kind of spawned on the same sort of side of the map here. So we may get the situation where like Unrestricted goes over here to look and Bongo goes over here to look, and then it's kind of just going to be the luck of the draw as to like if they go around clockwise or anti-clockwise around the center of the map. But yeah, Unrestricted does just push in all the Gazelle there. And Bongo is doing so himself. He actually finds himself an elephant there, which is going to be nice for him. And it's the calm before the storm on Oasis. And it's going to be interesting to see the approach from the players. I imagine we won't see scouts, just because scouts are just such a big investment that if you don't have like a more direct bonus for the scouts, it's not usually... Well, it's just a risky play. Like if the scouts don't work out, it's just a lot of food down the plug hole. That said, like I said, it is still difficult to war on this map, so maybe one of the players is brave enough to go for that play because I suspect we'll probably see the players researching Watchtower and using that to defend wood lines, but scouts can dive underneath towers where they have that one pierce armor, and they have quite a bit of HP as well, so it can tank quite a few Watchtower shots. And this potentially is the forward villager we see coming out from Unrestricted, and as you can see, he's unfortunately lost the coin flip here, and is going to go around the south side. So this villager is going to have a long march. And actually, Bongo has done exactly the same. So it'd be funny if these villagers just come across each other. As we see 19 vills, yeah, just the 20th vill coming in for both players. I imagine it'll be a 20 pop-up. I'm not seeing an extra house. Okay, that's storage pit being built from Bongo. And Unrestricted seems to have had the slightly cleaner Stone Age of the two. Obviously, like I said, the Romans do get some discounts on the buildings. That does help the flow of their early game. And now we are going to see that crisscross. The players going to notice, though, is the question. And no, they don't. It's always funny that, because it's like, obviously the players can see, but it's just, are they paying attention in that split second? And Bongo kind of looks like he's wrapping around a little bit more, which is a little interesting to see. Unrestricted. Yeah, he's gone for the deep search now to kind of, I guess, realise he's probably in the wrong section. That artifact's going to help him out. Barracks goes down for Bongo, and he's found himself an artifact too. Yeah, 22 seconds idle TC time, not too bad for the Assyrians. It's going to be a little bit quicker going up for Unrestricted. He hasn't got his barracks down yet, built the barracks at home. Is it just going to be... Is he going to go forward stable, or will it just be at archery range? Couple of clubbers will be able to defend. And Bongo still doesn't know exactly where his opponent... Well, neither of the players know where their opponent is just yet. And like I said, it's always a little bit tricky when the spawns are like this, because you go to where you expect your opponent to be, and then you've got a little work to do after that. But yeah, archery range coming down for Bongo, so no scout play from him. And storage pitch is going up on the stone. Archery range at home, so I guess Unrestricted, since he hasn't found his opponent, didn't feel brave enough to do it. This villager should get spotted now. We have Watchtower going up, and yeah, the villager is spotted, so no forward play will occur from Unrestricted. He may just lose the villager straight up here. Is he going to try and fight this? I think Unrestricted will win this. Okay, he moves, but I was going to say the secondary villager may make the fight uneven. It does so. Down goes Unrestricted villager. The forward villager has been spotted as well here, but obviously has already got the forward down. Unrestricted having a little bit of scouting with the villager, probably trying to maybe grab some extra elephants. But yeah, Watchtower down for both players, but neither player, like I said in the end, going for the stable play. Again, like I said, it's fairly risky play for the civilizations that don't have a good bonus to support the play. And already Bowman out. Oh, actually no, a scout is in production. Where is the stable? Okay, the stable is at home. But yeah, this still could be quite threatening, with Unrestricted being so close to his opponent, relatively speaking, of course. And his opponent on bows as well. So this scout could be able to get quite a lot of damage in here. His first few bowmen definitely just going to go down. So just the singular scout and just tool working, of which is for both of the melee units. Been used nicely there. And double archery range. Is one of those archery ranges at home? Yeah, one of the archery ranges is at home. I guess, yeah, because the Unrestricted did have the villager get spotted out, so maybe Bongo just wanted to make sure he was a little bit more secure at home. And it's interesting to see that Bongo is still just going all in on Bowman after seeing the scout. Obviously, we know that Unrestricted has only made that single scout, but there's a chance that Bong was like, oh, Unrestricted's going scouts, maybe I need to add in axes or something, but he's just going to try and mask the bowman. Obviously, the Assyrians get the faster firing bows, so if you just get a good mass of those, it's very hard to stop that. Scout going to come forward. That's probably not going to be able to do much damage here. But yeah, I feel like this is literally just for exploration purposes. And villager count. Just, yeah, that one villager getting taken down. The difference kind of evens up now, actually, as I say that, as both the players' idle TC times sneaking up. Both the players committing to military production at the moment. Another another watchtower going up to defend the berries. A few bows here. Villagers do jump into the tower. But villagers forced idle momentarily. And yeah, a few more bows coming out. Elephant does get found by Unrestricted, so he's going to bring that back to the base. And again, this is an interesting game because it feels like, again, it feels like two civs that aren't like 100% suited to this map. So both players kind of just playing a little bit cautiously. And this elephant's going to get lamed. That's a little bit unfortunate for Unrestricted. And the tower being attacked again. We're going to be able to defend the position. No woodworking yet. Makes woodworking is very effective for towers because you get that, obviously that extra range gives you so much more area. And Bowman going to jump in, and the wood line here Unrestricted is fairly quick to react though. Yeah, Bongo with a slight military advantage in terms of numbers, but Slinger's out for Unrestricted, and he does have stone mining in. So still no woodworking just yet. One villager does get caught out on the berries. So Bongo doing a good job of being annoying, just trying to snipe villagers here and there. You can see a little bit more of an engage on the top side. Yeah, woodworking is already in for Bongo. Didn't see exactly when that came in. Yeah, it looks like Bongo doing a little bit better. Well, I guess, yeah, two villagers being taken down, but just a little bit better on villager production. Only, yeah, by the extra one, but those two villagers being killed has made a little bit more of a difference in the numbers. A 3 villager gap overall. But now Unrestricted, a little bit of a push, is going to lame his opponent's elephant back in return. Looks like Bongo abandoned these farms that he'd set up. I guess there were some berries there at some point, and I just added the farms in there. And those kind of getting it denied now, but woodworking is finally coming in for Unrestricted as we see a little bit more of an engage. Bongo does have the hill to give himself the high ground, and obviously the Syrian's faster firing bonus going to be pretty effective there. But yeah, Unrestricted going to go for the villagers. Needs to keep moving though if he doesn't want to just get run down. A little bit of a fight kicking off at the bottom here, but let's focus back on Bongo's base for the time being. Yeah, it looks like the Slingers pushing back the bows on the south side. Another scout did get produced there at some point. Woodworking is now, I don't know why I'm looking at this house, so I got a little bit distracted. So yeah, very back and forth, artifact getting involved. Stop it. Stop it. I'll move on. I'll look away. Scout being slowed down by the Slingers there. But yeah, Bronze Age by Bongo now. And neither player has managed to get a huge fight in their favour. But like I said, it's just that couple of villager kills has given Bongo the small edge on the eco for most of this game. Bongo with plenty of wood in bag, as per usual. In pocket. Oh, interesting, he's going for gold mining. So we may just see a handful of cavalry units at the beginning. I don't think he has. Oh no, it does have a stable here. Yeah, we might see a handful of cavalry just to sort of clean up the tool age units before I imagine he'll then switch into the chariot archer. A couple of scouts for Unrestricted now. Gonna maybe be able to get on to the villagers. Quick house being built there. Villagers on the gold are going to be exposed though, and this is going to put pace to the idea of going for cavalry straight away. Obviously Unrestricted commit a bit more to defense in terms of building some extra towers. Bongo much more open, only had that initial one. We're going to see a little bit of a fight back and forth here. It's a little bit clumsy. One villager does go down, Unrestricted, on the way to Bronze Age now himself. We should be able to pick off a couple more villagers here. A little bit of madness ensuing. Bongo now gets his army in position though. Plenty of slingers. Unrestricted should be able to take this fight, I think. Obviously the bowman with the greater range though. Bongo doing a good job at kiting out the fight. Unrestricted maybe could switch on to just trying to attack villagers. Very back and forth fight. Another bowman goes down, slinger goes down in trade. And just trying to look, is there much going on down this side? Not really. So yeah, Bongo doesn't have the gold that I think he wanted to make those cavalry units, and it's going to be cavalry for Unrestricted. Bongo getting the wheel in now though, and yeah, now we see the instant click. 5 archery rangers, the 3 at home, and I think the other 2 down here. Chariot archer numbers gonna start taking off, and Unrestricted a little bit late to collecting the gold, and it's gonna be pretty difficult now. I think even though Unrestricted managed to get a handful of villager kills back in return, like I said, I feel like the Romans just don't really have the options to try and deal with mass chariot archer. I mean, it's difficult for a lot of civs, to be fair, but they don't get access to compies or their own chariot archer. Best option is probably going to be cavalry, and then maybe some stone throwers in the back to try and get some big hits. All right, Joe, how you doing, man? I did pop onto your stream earlier before I started the cast. I don't know what's going on in Tarkov, but it was interesting. Like I said, Unrestricted, single cavalry unit now. It's going to be forced onto gold elsewhere. Yeah, the back here now. It's going for the regular chariot. I guess, yeah, just because he doesn't have access to the gold at the moment. And it's kind of a backup unit. But yeah, Bongo attacking on all fronts now. Bongo finds the gold in the back as well. And yeah, Unrestricted just down to 2 military units. Chariot archer count already up at 15. And yeah, Unrestricted just go for the towers to try and defend. Obviously the Romans get those towers much cheaper, and that is one way of trying to hold. Bongo already with stone thrower though, plus 4 armor on the chariot archers already as well. And yeah, Unrestricted just in a difficult spot now. Bongo just going all in from all sides. Main fight feels like it's happening on this front. Stone thrower going to start chewing through. Ooh, Chariot's probably going to be able to snipe the stone thrower though, so that's pretty nice for Unrestricted. But yeah, just not enough military units on the table. Metalworking coming in. I don't really think he can afford that. I think you need just more units at this point. Let's have a look on the south side. I think the towers are going to be able to hold for the time being, and Bongo's going to need to invest in another. He's got plenty of resources for a couple more stone throwers. And government centre going down, so maybe Bongo just thinking about just securing the, like going for a more eco approach. Obviously from the perspective I can see, it feels like you should probably just try and go for the throat at this point. Artifact getting out of the way, that's nice to see. 10 out of 10 from Bongo there. But yeah, extra TCs are being placed down, which I do find a little bit surprising, as Bongo maybe not realising he's as ahead as he is. The score is still fairly even. But this is going to give Unrestricted the chance to get up the unit count himself. Obviously he's still like pretty far behind. But yeah, maybe Bongo just thinking, well, he's got all these towers, it's going to take me a little while to break through there. Just get myself set up in terms of macro. nobility coming in for Unrestricted now, for those chariots and cavalry. But yeah, it's going to be tough now, I think, for Unrestricted. Just because Syrian chariot archers just so incredibly deadly. I see a little bit of an engage here. A couple of units will get caught out, but I think Bongo should be able to handily take the trade, although he doesn't seem to be confident. There's actually some decent damage done by Unrestricted. He looks like he's trying to like poke through. Camels being added by Bongo now though. Chariots do actually resist the anti-cavalry damage of the camels to a certain extent. But I think that's probably not going to be useful enough for Unrestricted. Again, he had back down to 7. Bongo, with his eco, starting to explode now. With the extra TCs, 4th TC being added on the top side here. And it's just, yeah, like I said, it's one of the biggest problems with the Romans in Return of Rome. Well, I guess technically in all versions of Age of Empires, to be fair, to be fair, is that Bronze Age just is a little bit suspect just because they don't have any good ranged units. And they don't really have a military bonus. They've obviously got the infantry military bonus, but it's hard to go into the infantry unless you've already got yourself into an advantageous position where you can just start spamming the unit and just flood your opponent. It's got a good number of cavalry units here. Yeah, 7 camels out in play for Bongo now. Just +2/+2. Yeah, now stone thrower as well. Villagers going to the slaughter. I'm not exactly sure where they're going here. But yeah, Unrestricted, I guess, like I said, doing the best he can in the situation. And it's actually going to get a good fight here as Bongo not paying attention. That's quite a few chariot archers going down the plug hole. But Unrestricted is going to need probably another 2 or 3 engages like that to get anywhere back even again. He should be able to take down the stone throwers here, but I think he's probably going to lose all the cavalry in the process with the camels there for Bongo. So yeah, stone throwers do go down. And I guess the cavalry do have +4/+4, and the camels only have +2/+2, but yeah, just the weight of numbers, I think, too heavily in the favour of Bongo? Or is this the miracle play? Actually, I think +4/+2, actually. Somehow Unrestricted doing way better in this fight than I feel like he had the right to. Stone thrower gets caught out there as well. So pretty nice engage, actually. But now, after all said and done, we're back down to 2 to the 26. And Bongo trying to push down on the south side again. And yeah, it looks like, yeah, Unrestricted has tried to get himself on stone throwers. And yeah, it's literally, like I said, I said many times before, I don't really feel like stone throwers are that much. It's kind of a very, 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 very soft counter to chariot archers. Your opponent has to not really be paying attention for their unit to get much damage in. So yeah, stone thrower push again. Still trying to make the cavalry units. And camels still being produced. I think that's the correct play from Bongo, just because the camels are a little bit more punchy at trying to kill it. Yeah, because he's going to lose the stone throwers again here. So that's the big problem with chariot archers, is just their base damage is quite low. So like their actual damage output's fairly low. It's just that they're very hard to reach with their mobility. So they're not very good at defending positions. They're very good at being aggressive and annoying. We're diving under the towers here now. I think Unrestricted, yeah, it does have a good number of cavalry. +4 on the camels now. One of the downsides of the Assyrians is they don't get nobility. So there's camels missing the +4 attack, and they're a little bit lacking on HP. But GG just is called, which I think it was fair to say that Bongo was in the driving seat for most of the later phase of that game. So not too bad. This is why I banned Assyrian. Well, yeah, I think the thing was like Unrestricted didn't find his opponent earlier on. Like, and again, I'm surprised. Again, I think the big thing for me is just why not the Persians here? Why Romans now? And Romans again are stronger than the Assyrians in the earlier phase of the game, but they're not like a hugely powerful civ in the early game. They're just like better than generic ones, civs. I don't know. Well, like I said, I feel like this is more just the Romans just don't have a good option in this particular matchup. I feel like that's one of the biggest problems with the Romans is just like they just don't have a good answer to CA at all. You basically just have to hope he gets the Bronze Age first, and obviously that wasn't the case. So Unrestricted maybe getting a little bit too far behind in the earlier phase of the game. Yeah, he only lost like a couple of vills, but he just felt like he slipped just a small amount behind in quite a few places, and he was always like being pressured by these bowmen, and never really fully dealt with the situation until basically Bongo just committed to going to the Bronze Age and kind of stopped Tool Age production. That was when Unrestricted managed to get like a little bit of a counter-attack in. Yeah, like if he was like, just think if he played the Persians, he would have obviously had a much better way of forcing onto his opponent. The other thing as well is he just didn't find his opponent until quite late on, whereas Bongo kind of got in a little bit quicker, not loads quicker, but that just getting that little bit early quicker can make all the difference. Just because it means you kind of, like I said, you force your opponent on the back foot. So 2-1 to Bongo, and he takes the lead in the series. Let us go back to the draft. So we had the Romans lose up against the Assyrians. So the Persians are still in the pool. Like I said, there is Desert Ridge and possibly, and Muddy Waters. To be fair, Persians could be pretty good on Muddy Waters. That wasn't something I took into account. And maybe Unrestricted kind of, maybe he felt that Bongo didn't really have much of a good Oasis civ for Bongo, so maybe he thought Romans was strong enough by itself to beat some of the these last couple of civs, maybe assuming that these civs would be saved for some. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell the minds of another gamer. But it looks like Continental is the next map, so we'll get straight in there. So I suspect we'll probably see the Mertens. We may see the Carthaginians, that said, and likely the Phoenicians, I would assume, from Unrestricted. But we'll get on into the game. I think we'll just be waiting for the spec delay for a moment. Oh no, we're straight in. I was evidently talking for too long at the end of that last game. And we do still have the Capture Age bug. So I will restart Capture Age again. And in we go to game 4. And it is the Carthaginians up against the Phoenicians. As we just try and catch up. Unrestricted, going for the granary start straight away, whereas it looks like Bongo found a fairly decent spot for a storage pit. With the box turtles there, and on the wood line as well. Unrestricted. Yeah, I guess I didn't see exactly, but maybe we just wanted to go for the slightly more consistent start of going for the granary. It's always a little bit risky to go for the pit or dock start, just because sometimes it means you just delay your villager production. Just a single second from Unrestricted. And yeah, like I said, Carthaginians, so Minoans maybe being saved for that Rivers map. I feel like that is not a terrible choice, just because I feel like there are sometimes It can be the case where the Minoans get abused in the early tool age on Continental, where the opponent just land rushes you. Whereas on rivers, if you can try and like find the crossings and stuff, you're a little bit more likely to spot a forward from your opponent. And then the water, being able to control the water in rivers is very good, because yeah, you can control the crossings and you basically just prevent your opponent doing anything. Unrestricted's going to get his villagers spotted out here. Bongo just going to claim the elephant, sends another villager in its place. This villager was a little bit early. Unrestricted has seemed to be doing that quite a bit recently in the series so far, where he sends the villager out quite early to just try, I guess, to just try and make sure he finds his opponent. Didn't work out for him last game. Storage pit not the best for the box turtles, unfortunately. A little bit off on the elephant there. Another village. Is this? Yeah, it's the same village just wrapped around, isn't it? Yeah. And Bongo is actually going to be the first. Well, actually, no, yeah, the artifacts being able to spot out Unrestricted's base. So Bongo just chilling until he gets the wood, and there we go. Barracks going down. 19 pop up from Bongo. Obviously, only 10 seconds idle TC time, but yeah, with that extra starting food. Bongo taking good advantage of that. The fourth villager gets spotted again. Unrestricted going a little bit too deep there. And so the forward is going to have to be a backwards hit. Barracks probably going to have to go up at home. Villagers spot the barracks, but he's going to need to build his own barracks. It's the priority here. Second barracks going down. Unrestricted may be able to deny this second barracks. But Clubbers in production. Tool age in quicker for Bongo as he went up on 19 pop. Not too far behind from Restricted. Clubber is in now. But once the tool age is in, the villagers should be able to actually just run unless Unrestricted takes the fight. Whoa, that's close. One hit from death. Oh no, well, two actually. Clubber only does 3 damage a hit. Ooh, see you, unless you're on the downhill slope, and then you take an extra damage. So the villagers just go down for Bongo. Clubman does have the armor in. Unrestricted doesn't have needlework in just yet. So these clubbers going to be pretty tanky. Axe upgrade going to come in first for Unrestricted, but toolworking... Oh, actually, toolworking is in for both players now. So it's already getting a little bit messy here. Archer range gets denied. Unrestricted pulling a whole bunch of villagers to make sure that goes up. Still no needlework from Unres. He doesn't have the food spare to make it. Obviously, it's not a huge amount. The villager goes down. Yeah, no Axer upgrade for Bongo. The second barracks did get denied, and yeah, it's just going to be double archery range at home. So, after all said and done, okay, clubbers, okay, no needlework. These clubbers are just absolute titans in this situation. And yeah, Unrestricted just getting needlework in now. It looks like... Ooh, why are we fast forwarding now? That's a little bit weird. Unrestricted does manage to wall out the clubbers. Yeah, number 2 villagers go down. I was going to say, what I was going to say was it was a fairly even situation, but those 2 more villagers going down has definitely given Bongo an advantage again. He's got himself set up on the water now. You can see scout ships coming out. Dock coming down for Unrestricted now as well, though. Did we fall behind in time again? That's interesting. Another bit of an engage on the front. Good number of units for Unrestricted. But a lot of bows means axes by themselves. Obviously, there's a couple of ranged units here. Only the one slinger. Second, excuse me, slinger following up. Bongo is going to be forced to hide the villagers away, though. And we're going to see the counter push. Barracks not making any. Just a couple of clubbers just chilling here still. Kind of funny. Get back to the action on the south side. Unrestricted trying to force this through. Scout ship is going to be able to do a lot of damage from the shoreline here. But Unrestricted is going to... They'll keep pushing. And Scout ship... Oh, no, this is going to be devastating. I think Unrestricted is probably not going to notice this for a while. I think he's focusing on the south side here. Does notice now. Loses 2 more villagers. That could have been a lot worse, but that's already pretty bad. Had to delete the storage pit. And GG's just called. Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, we've got Bongo as number 2 seed. 3-1 to Bongo now, so he's got himself on set point. Only 1 more needed. Yeah, Unrestricted just getting his early villagers spotted out twice, actually. First was around here, with the villager getting spotted out here. The villager tried to wrap around again, just went a little bit deep. So that was the first time. What exactly? I guess it was just the villager pushing the gazelle spotted the villager there. So maybe a little bit unlucky for Unrestricted there. Yeah, Unrestricted didn't really go that deep. It was just that gazelle pusher. And then Unrestricted maybe not the best actually, no, he didn't have the wood for the barracks at this point actually. So that's why he didn't just instantly try to go that. And yeah, the barracks did go up. And yeah, fair enough. Unrestricted didn't have the wood straight away for the barracks. Did a good job of denying the second barracks, to be fair. But yeah, then I think missing the needlework upgrade really hurt Unrestricted there. These clubbers able to do a lot more than they probably should have done. Especially when they're wrapped around here. Because like I said, at this point I was going to say the game felt like it was in a fairly even state. Obviously quite a lot more idle TC time for Unrestricted. And he tried to quick wall, wasn't quite quick enough there. And that was a little bit unfortunate. If he'd walled here and this tile here, I think he would have got away with that. That was a very close run thing. But yeah, that put Unrestricted another couple of villages behind, and then Bongo had the time to get himself set up on the dock, on the water, sorry, with the dock, and then that scout ship coming round. Kind of the final blow, really. And Unrestricted wasn't really able to get the damage in. We had this defensive scout ship, which it felt like Bongo kind of lured Unrestricted into the scout ship there. Yeah, so yeah, Bongo just retreated with the wood line. And Unrestricted wasn't really able to get much return damage in. And after that, yeah, point, GG was more or less called. So yep, 3-1 to Bongo now. So Unrestricted with a lot of uphill work to do. Bongo still has his Lakviat pick in pocket, as well as the Minoans as well, for the Rivers map. And again, I'm still slightly questioning the Romans pick on Oasis instead of the Persians. Maybe we'll get from Unrestricted. Actually, we're already straight onto the next map. It's Muddy Waters, so I'll just quickly go through the draft thing again. So we're going to Muddy Waters, and I can see the civs. What do we have? Phoenicians losing to the Carthaginians. And it's going to be Macedonians from Unrestricted against the Lakviat. And good luck to Unrestricted against the Lakviat here, is all I'm going to say. He's put himself in a tight spot now. He's going to have to win every game from this spot. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, looking at the leftover 6 from Bongo, I've got to say he's got the civ advantage. Let's get ourselves into game 5. And so this is the first time we've seen Muddy Waters. And again, I'm a little bit surprised Unrestricted hasn't pulled out. Oof. Do you call restart on that? Unrestricted still has a restart. You get 2 restarts each. I think they've still only used 1. 1 HP left on the villager. But what I was going to say before the villagers clubbed each other to death is this is another map where the Persians can be very good. Obviously, Macedonians can be very good here as well because the line of sight bonus can really help you find those extra elephants. So that's maybe the thought process here. Artifact going to be able to do a little bit of exploration as well. The artifact's line of sight is pretty poor though. He's going to find an elephant there. But yeah, Bongo on the Lakviat, his first pick civ that he's been able to save to this point. Game paused. Apparently they're complaining of lag, is what the pause is for. So I'll just have a bit more look at the map. So yeah, there are the extra berry patches that Bongo can utilize to take more advantage of his Lakviat bonus. Yeah, Lakviat was his first pick. It's because he used what was his pick on the first map? Babylonians. Bongo used the Babylonians on Highlands, whereas Unrestricted used his Shang choice there. Obviously, Unrestricted did get the win with the Shang, but like, I think you don't mind losing it to the Shang with the Babylonians. But yeah, I think we're just waiting for the game to stabilize. So yeah, Unrestricted does grab himself an extra couple of elephants. It'll be interesting to see if he does go for another foray. Actually, yeah, spotted another 2 elephants there, so it's definitely going to go and grab those. This artifact doing a lot of work, despite its very minimalistic. Ooh, I think that was just a little capture age bug there. Just make sure I'm fully up to date. Okay. Yeah, it's going to slightly miss the elephant there. Yeah, Lakviat, the most banned civ of the tournament. For anyone that wasn't aware of that fact and didn't see the stats tables. Despite the fact they've been nerfed many times, and early aggression has been nerfed quite a lot in the tool age, people are still very afraid of the aggression that the Lakviat are capable of. Like I said, obviously they have the berry bonus to just get a nice early Stone Age, as well as the faster creating military bonus, which just means you can just mass up those units a lot quicker than most other civs. West Macedonians, like I said, just have the bonus of the extra line of sight, which has helped Unrestricted to some degree to find those extra elephants, although again the artifact's done quite a lot of work for Unrestricted there. I've actually lost track of the artifact now. Where has it gone? Oh, it's up here. Why is that not showing on the map? That's weird. That's where it normally does. Interesting. But, okay. 20 pop up for Bongo. 20 pop a little bit behind for Unrestricted. Unrestricted? Yeah, that is the word. My brain went lagged for a second there before I said the word wrong. And it's going to click a little bit late. 45 seconds. So, a small advantage getting to the tool age for Bongo. And is this... We've got another villager going down south here. These look like they're just searching for resources, these villagers. It'd be interesting because I'm not sure how familiar Bongo is with this map. Like I said, Muddy Waters is quite a rarely played map. So yeah, Bongo actually playing from home. I don't know if this is just because, again, as I was saying, maybe he just feels a little bit unfamiliar with the layout of this map. He's going to find the extra berries there. That's quite nice from him. I don't know, did he see these ones? He didn't see those one there, but he should be able to get another granary on the back berries there at some point. And it looks like we're just going for full walls for Bongo. Villager coming out for Unrestricted, but again... Yeah, I've only just seen that message from you now, Jesse, but I'm a little bit surprised Unrestricted didn't restart here, because I'm pretty sure he has one left, and this is like tournament life game. But yeah, Tool Age coming in now for Unrestricted. A little bit slower than his opponent there. And yeah, feels like maybe a little bit of a nervy game. Neither player going forward in this situation. Unrestricted has the score lead, which I imagine will be almost entirely down to exploration. You can see Bongo much less of the map revealed. As yeah, Bongo is up a couple of villages. Yeah, obviously he's had that villager lead from pretty early in the game, as well as just a little bit less vital TC time. Double archery range and market. Villager coming forward is going to spot the wall now. Villager sees the bowman, makes a run for it. So I don't know if this was, yeah, it didn't have the wood, although maybe that, interesting. Yeah, I don't know if this was a scouting villager, if that was a attempt at a forward play. It's a little bit late to go forward with how long his opponent has been in the tool age. Wall being researched by Unrestricted. And I think Bongo is basically fully walled now. And he's given himself quite a bit of space to work with. Unrestricted seems to have felt the need to wall a little bit more closely. It was quite exposed on the front of the base. I mean, both players were fairly exposed, but Bongo, under no real threat, had quite a lot of time to get himself properly set up. There is a little scrubby bush there. And it looks like, yeah, Bongo just going searching, although the artifact somehow... How has that artifact got through the entire base without being captured? That's crazy. It just... I'm going action replay of artifact cam. That's gone way too far back there. Where's the artifact gone? Oh, it's there. How the hell did that happen? That's ridiculous. Anyway, back to the live game. Third archery range coming down for Unrestricted. Woodworking I did see just sneaking at the last moment. I presume woodworking must be in for Bongo as well. Yeah, it is. And Bongo going to be coming forward first. Another villager probably going to get caught out here. Yeah, bites the dust. Bongo with a 4 villager lead now, and Unrestricted does see the bowman, so hopefully pulls away the villagers. Still collecting from the ibex there. No movement from Unrestricted just yet. Another villager gets picked off. Where are Unrestricted's bowmen? There's a couple here. Oh, they're all over here. There we are. 13 bows for Bongo. And yeah, like I said, Unrestricted's not really given himself that much of a space to work with, which makes him much more vulnerable to bowmen shooting into wood lines. Do we see a bit of an engage here? Unrestricted does have the numbers advantage. Reinforcements are coming around. Obviously, they don't see. Okay, we does see the block of units now. Is Unrestricted just going to ignore this though? Archer shots, bowman shots, I should say, going wide. And Unrestricted in 2 mines, it seems. You can see him sort of like stepping back and forth there. Houses being built up in defense. That is a little bit awkward because it's going to trap the bowman in this archery range on the left here. Unless he releases it outside the wall. And yeah, this is... I feel like Unrestricted is probably not giving himself enough space to work with here. House going to go down very quickly. Village is trying to build another wall, house, sorry, to wall up. Does manage to start the villager away in time. Army for Unrestricted is coming in. Deletes the barracks. Villagers forced to garrison. Woodline under threat, but I think we're going to see the fight. Deletes the house, deletes the storage pit. So even if Unrestricted wins the fight here, it's going to be a little bit costly in terms of rebuilding the structures. But yeah, numbers advantage. Two villagers go down, a little bit sloppy from Unrestricted to lose that. I think he should be able to take the fight here. These bowmen don't really have anywhere to go. Both players kind of dancing back and forth. I think Unrestricted just needs to fire with these bows down here. He's not really bringing his full force to bear, but he's winning the fight regardless. Whole line of reinforcements coming through though. This granary's going to go, oh no, this is going to be terrible. If Unrestricted isn't paying attention here. Okay, he does realise pretty quickly. And he does clear up the back of his base now. More farms going down. And Unrestricted is going to need to take another big fight here. All the farmers need to be pulled back. And again, we're going to see a little bit of a brawl. And GG's just called. He just called GG on the spot. 4-1 to TakeawayBongo. I'm surprised Unrestricted didn't try to play that out for a little bit longer. I mean, obviously he wasn't in a great situation, but like this was tournament line. And again, I mean, we never saw the Persians come out. We never saw the Persians come out into play. Like I said, I don't mind the idea of the Macedonians on this map, but just with Bongo having the Latviat left over in his pool, he was always going to have that civ advantage on a map somewhere. And yeah, well, Unrestricted took the first game in the series, but yeah, you can see the dots. 4 straight wins from Bongo. So congratulations to him. He will go on to have a rematch against Say My Name in the grand final. So good luck to you there, Bongo. And see how that series goes. But yeah, well played to Unrestricted so far this tournament. Felt like just small little differences in most of the games. It wasn't like an absolute. I think the only one was like Citadel's, where I think Unrestricted got caught a little bit unawares by the Palmyran push. But every other game was pretty close. It was just, like I said, just small little. One villager being picked off here, one villager picked up there. Little fights not going in his favour, and Bongo just getting those incremental advantages.